And as in the previous video, I have told you that glucose is a monomer which is present in both animals and plant. In animal, it is present in the form of a polysaccharide glycogen, whereas in plants, it is present in the form of amylose as well as in the form of amylopectin. So these both things are present in the form of a starch, and this starch composed of these two things. So if you go with the differentiation among these three things, so if the glucose unit is combined in a form of a linear chain through the alpha 1,4 linkage, glycosidic linkage, then it's a case of amylose. That is, if you just combine the glucose monomer in a straight chain, then it's a case of amylose. When these straight chains are going to interlink with each other, then it could be case of either amylopectin or a glycogen. So in the case of amylopectin, the interlinkage used to occur after the interval of 25 monomer of glucose unit, whereas in the case of glycogen, the interlinkage used to take place after every 10 monomer units of the glucose. So as the interval in the case of glycogen is less, so you can say that the branching is more in the case of glycogen as compared to the amylopectin. So next thing is, here you can just clarify the statement by reading this thing. Glycogen is a branched polysaccharide consisting of a linear and a branch chain of D-glucose units. Branching point occur approximately every 10 glucose residue in glycogen, while they occur after every 25 glucose residue in the case of amylopectin. So as this glycogen is majorly present in the case of vaginal epithelial cells, so to differentiate the vaginal epithelial cells from the other sources, you can go for this test, that is the staining of the glycogen you can go for. So the glycogen used to get stained with the Lugol's iodine reagent. What this Lugol's iodine reagent is, it is an aqueous solution of 5% iodine mixed with 10% of potassium iodide. So why are we adding potassium iodide? Because it allows the iodine to be soluble in water through the formation of triiodide ion. So what happens when you react the Lugol's iodine reagent with the glycogen? So as it has a helix structure, that is the branching is there. So the iodine atom used to get fixed within this branching of the glycogen to form a dark brown structure of the iodine. So here you can say that iodine reacts with the intracellular glycogen to exhibit a brown color. So apart from this, you can use a number of other staining method. One of the other staining method here is periodic acid shift reagent test. So what happened in this? This is the reagent that could also be used to stain the glycogen again. So what happened upon the staining the epithelial cells of the vagina? So what happened? The cytoplasm used to get stained as magenta, whereas the nuclei used to stain as a purple color. So the staining, based upon the staining intensity, you would be able to rate the scale among 1 to 4. So 4 is being the most intense. So based upon the intensity, you would be able to conclude whether is it a case of vaginal cells or is it a source of other cells. Why? Because there are chances of having the glycogen in other cells as well, as I had told you earlier. So thus there are certain drawbacks of this staining method of the glycogen. What are the drawbacks? Are the first drawback is the amount of glycogen used to vary in the vagina itself based upon the stages of menstruation cycle. So for example, at the time of ovulation, the amount of glycogen is very high, so you may give the false negative result in the case if the amount of glycogen is very less in the case of other part of the cycle, in the other stages of the cycle. So the other drawback is it is not unique. As you already know, the glycogen cells could be present in the other things as well, so it is not the specific test for this case. The third is Third drawback is it used to consume a lot of the sample. So if the question sample is very limited, so you would not be go for the further examination, like if you want to go for the DNA profiling. So it is actually suggested, if the sample is in very less amount, so better service and go for the DNA profiling. The other test you can go for is the Daines staining. So in the Daines staining, what's the advantage over the other method? Here it used to stain the different cells with different colors. Rather than the change in the intensity, it used to get the change in color. So the skin cells in this case used to get stained as red and orange, whereas the buccal cells used to get stained predominantly with orange pink with red nuclei. Whereas if it is a case of vaginal cell, it used to get stained with the orange color of the cytoplasm and with the orange nuclei. So for example, if you have a suspicious sample, and if you want to know whether the source is vaginal cells or not, you just stain it with the Dane staining, and if you get only the orange view of the cells, then it is only the source could be concluded as vaginal. But if you get the different coloration of red, orange, pink, anything, then it may be possibly from the skin cell or from the buccal cell or from the other cells, but not the from the vaginal cells only. So based upon the coloration, you would be able to distinguish rather than going with the intensity. So it is more easier to conclude in this case as compared to the previous staining methods. So I hope the staining method is clear to you all. Thank you.